So these are the things that you are going to need in order to make butter. So first you're going to need a mixing bowl, and this is what you're going to put the butter in when it's in solid form. And this is a little bit bigger than 2 quarts, so, and I find that's sufficient enough. You're going to need a high-powered blender. I have a Ninja. This one works really, really well. You just want to make sure that you don't blend it too fast at first because it won't solidify. And then I have my wooden utensils, a round one and a flat one. I have a little cup right here so that way I can put the buttermilk in it. This is for the finished product. It is in glass. I don't like to keep my dairy in plastic whenever possible, so I do my best with that. And then here's the actual heavy cream. This is about 1 quart, and I get this from a farm down south. You're gonna need a teaspoon of grinded salt. I choose pink Himalayan salt because I like the flavor of it. And then you're gonna need about 5 cups of cold water. So I just put some ice in here and I shook it up. Oh, filtered water, yes, mind you, you don't want chlorine and other contaminants in your butter. So let's begin. So I have about 1 quart of heavy cream that I'm pouring into the blender, and I'm just making sure that all of it is scraped out so that way there's nothing left. I really like to make sure that none of this product goes to waste, so I take my time with this process. So now I'm just going to blend it on low speed for like 5 minutes and just wait. Then I'm gonna switch the speed up to 2. And then I put it back down to 1 to slow it down. And if you see here, it is very kind of creamy looking, and it's looking more solid rather than just liquid heavy cream. So now I'm scraping down the sides to make sure that it all gets blended and that there's nothing that is stuck. And I'm just going to continue to blend it here. All right, perfect. So this is when the milk solids are actually starting to separate from the liquid. So that's going to give you that chunky, thick butter that you want. I'm going to give it one more swirl, and then we will start the process. So everything is pretty separated now. So I'm going to get the buttermilk out. So all I have to do is open it up, grab my spoon, and just let the liquid fall out. You just want to make sure that no milk solids like the butter gets in here. It's not a big deal if it does. It just, I mean, it messes with the flavor a little bit. All right, so we'll probably get more than that, but that's only 2 ounces of buttermilk. So now I'm going to take the blades out. I can take this and scrape it all off the sides and scrape all the butter and everything into the mixing bowl. Yeah, a lot more buttermilk is starting to come out. Okay, so it looks like I got all of it scraped out. We have a lot of butter here, and we also have liquid. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the rounded spoon and we're going to press the rounded spoon into the butter. So that way this squeezes out the buttermilk, and it also helps press more of the fat into each other, or into itself. So that way it'll make it into just one big solid ball of butter. All right, so we have more buttermilk, so I'm gonna just pour that into the container. Yikes. You can do this with a strainer too if you're finding that there are a lot of clumps that are coming out with the buttermilk. But I'm simply holding the butter in place, clearly. I'm holding the butter in place so that way this whole big block of butter does not fall like that, see? It's much easier when I can actually see what I'm doing and not turning it towards the camera. This part can definitely be very time consuming, so it's important to be patient when you're doing this. I'm just gonna hold the butter and pour the buttermilk. So 2 ounces all the way up to 8 ounces. So out of all that, that was 1 quart of heavy cream that I threw in the blender. This is raw butter, so I don't really like to cook with it because that kind of defeats the whole point of butter. So I'll buy like some already pasteurized butter, like Kerrygold. So now that I have the buttermilk ready, I will just put the lid on it and then pop this in the fridge. So now I take my cold water and I just pour it in. Just enough so that way it covers the top of the butter, but not so much that it'll splash out of the sides when I'm stirring it with the stick. So now I'm just gently pressing the water into the butter. And this cold water is what's going to help the fat solidify even more. But I'm just pressing the flat side of the spoon into the butter like so. So now I'm going to take this and carefully make sure that I don't lose the butter when I pour the water into the sink. Now I'm going to add another. So this is what it looks like now. It's just a big glob of butter floating in water. So I'm going to pour this water out. Now I'm going to add the salt. That was about 1 teaspoon of salt. This part is much easier to do, to mix the salt in with the butter with your hands. So make sure your hands are very clean. I just washed mine again. And you're just gonna press and press and press the butter together. So that way you can squeeze even more water out and get the salt to coat the entire That's about all I'm going to do for pressing the butter. Seems pretty good. Now I'm going to transfer it over to my container. So I'm just going to kind of smush it in there. And voila, you are done. So this is about probably 1 pound of butter. And it tastes delicious. There's really nothing like it that you're gonna find in the grocery store. The quality is going to be far better if you get it from a farm and make it yourself. So now you know how to make homemade butter from raw heavy cream. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to see more videos like this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video next week.